Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello everyone and welcome to a new lesson in your grammar book. This is Ibrahim Saud and the verb tenses. Today I'm going to talk about the 12 verb tenses. As you know, we have 3 main verb tenses and 4 aspects for each one. We have the past, the present, and the future. And we have 4 aspects for each one. We have simple, progressive, perfect, and perfect progressive. So we have 12 verb tenses. Let's start with the present simple. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about the usages, the form, and some examples for each tense. Let's start with the form of the present simple. And as you know, we have the subject first. After that, we have the verb, and the verb is in the first form. What does it mean, the first form? The first form means that with I, you, we, and they, we don't add anything to the verb. And with he, she, and it, I add s to the verb. For example, when I say, I study every day, and he studies every day. If you want to make a negative sentence, you will start, or you use don't or doesn't. And if you want to make a question, you will start with do or does. The key words used for the present simple are never, sometimes, usually, often, always, every. We can use the preposition at, and it's followed by a time, and on, and it's followed by a day. All of these are used with the present simple. The present simple is used to express a fact or a habit. Look at this timeline. This is now. This point is in the past. This point is in the future. The present simple can be expressed like this on the timeline. It means that it can be something that was a fact or a habit in the past. It is still a fact or a habit now, and it will be a fact or a habit in the future. So again, the present simple is used to express a fact or a habit. Now let's move to the present continuous. The form, the subject first. After that, we have am, is, or, are, and the verb plus ing. This is the form of the present continuous. For example, when I say, I am studying now. I am studying now. In this sentence, we have an action that is happening now, and this is the usage of the present continuous. Look at this timeline. Yes, this is now, and we are talking about something that is happening now. What are the keywords used with the present continuous? We have now, right now, at the moment, look, listen, today, and this. All of these are the words used with the present continuous. Now let's talk about the past simple. The past simple, as you know, we start with the subject first. Subject plus the verb in the second form. And you know that we have two types of verbs. We have regular and irregular verbs. Okay, with regular verbs, I add ed. And with irregular verbs, you have to study these verbs by heart. For example, see, saw. Okay, look at this example when I say, I studied yesterday. This action is in the past. Look at this timeline. This is now. And we have an action that happened in the past, as you can see. So this is the past simple. What are the keywords used with the past simple? We have yesterday, last, and ago. These words are used with the past simple. Now let's talk about the past continuous. We start with the subject first. After that, we have was or were and the verb plus ing. This is the past continuous form. Okay. What is it used for, the past continuous? The past continuous is used for an action that was in progress in the past. Okay, look at this timeline to understand the idea or the usage of this tense. This is now, and we have an action in the past, as you can see. This action was in progress at a specific time in the past, at 7 o'clock, for example. So you can say, I was studying at 7 o'clock yesterday. Okay, so again, the idea or the usage of this tense is that we concentrate on the idea that something was in progress at a specific time in the past. I was studying at 7 yesterday. Now let's move to the future simple. And you know that the future symbol can be expressed by two ways. We have will and be going to. Look at the form. Subject plus will or be going to plus the infinitive form of the verb without to, of course. For example, when I say, I will study tomorrow. I will study tomorrow. So the future symbol is used to express the idea that something will happen in the future. Look at this timeline. And this is now. And we have an action in the future. Okay. We can use these words to express the future. For example, tomorrow. Next, in the future, and soon. These are some keywords They can be used with the present, with the future simple. Now let's move to the future progressive or the future continuous. It's the same idea as the past continuous. The past continuous is used to express an action that was in progress at a specific time in the past. The future continuous is used to express an action that will be in progress at a specific time in the future. Okay, so the difference between them is the past and the future, but they have the same idea or the same usage. Now look at this sentence, for example, or let's start with the form first. We have a subject plus will be plus verb plus ing. Look at this timeline. This is now, and we have an action that will be in progress in the future at a specific time, for example, at 7 o'clock. So we can say, I will be studying at 7 tomorrow. Or we can say at this time tomorrow I will be studying. Okay, so this is the future continuous. And again, it's like the past continuous, but the difference is between the time. The past continuous is used to express an action that was in progress in the past, and the future continuous is used to express an action that will be in progress in the future. Now let's move to the perfect tenses. Okay, and we have present perfect simple, present perfect continuous, past perfect simple, past perfect continuous, future perfect simple, and the future perfect continuous. Okay, let's start with the present perfect simple. Let's start with the form. And we have the subject. After that, we have or has, and then we have the past participle of the verb. Okay, look at this timeline to understand the usage of this tense. This is now, and we have an action in the past. This action happened in the past, and we can see the result now. We can see the result now. Okay, so the action happened in the past, but we can see the result now. Okay, this is the usage of the present perfect simple. And it may cause some confusion to some students because of the past simple usage. In the past simple, the time is important to be mentioned. Okay, for example, when I say I studied my lessons yesterday, so the time, which is yesterday, is very important to be mentioned in the sentence. But in the present perfect simple, the time isn't important to be mentioned, and the result is the most important. Now look at this sentence. When I say I have studied my lessons. In this sentence, the result is the most important. Okay, what's the result in this sentence? You can do something else. I have studied my lessons. you can do something else, okay? For example, when I say I have lost my keys, okay? In this sentence, I have lost my keys. The result is the most important because I can't open the door now. This is the result of the sentence, okay? Now let's talk about the present perfect continuous. The present perfect continuous. The present perfect continuous form, we start with the subject first. After that, we have or has plus been and the verb plus ing. Okay. In this sentence, look at the sentence first. I have been studying my lessons. I had been studying my lessons all day. Okay, I had been studying my lessons all day. In the present perfect continuous, the idea is that the action started in the past and it is still happening. Okay, the action started in the past and it is still happening. Look at this timeline to understand the usage of this tense. This is now, and we have an action that started in the past and it is still happening. Okay, I have been studying my lessons and I'm still studying my lessons. Okay, this is the idea. What are the keywords for the present perfect simple and the present perfect progressive or continuous? The keywords we have with the present perfect simple, we have just, already, ever, never, since, for, yet, and sometimes before. Okay, all of these are used with the present perfect simple. Just, already, ever, and never are used between have and has and past participle in this position. Since is used and it's followed by the beginning of an action. For is used and it's followed by a duration of time from the beginning of an action up till now. Yet is used at the end of a negative sentence or a question, and before is used at the end. Now let's talk about the present perfect continuous words. We have all, okay, it's the most famous, and we have recently, lately. We have the question word, how long, and we can use since and for. Now let's move to the past perfect simple. And this is when we have two actions in the past. Look at this timeline to understand. This is now, and we have two actions in the past. This is action number one, and this is action number two. Action number one is in the past perfect simple. Action number two is in the past simple. Past simple. Look at the form of the past perfect simple. We have the subject first, after that we have had, and the past participle of the verb. Okay, for example, when I say, I had studied my lessons before my father came. I had studied my lessons before my father came. Okay, so the first action is I had studied my lessons, and the second action is my father came. Take care that the first action is the past perfect simple and the second action is the past simple, as you can see in the second part of this sentence, which is came. Okay, again, the past perfect simple is used to express the idea that something happened before something else in the past, as you can see in this example. We have some linking words that can be used to connect the two tenses, the past perfect simple and the past simple. We have after, as soon as, because, and as you know, they are followed by past perfect, and after that, past simple. And sometimes we have when, by the time, and before, and they are followed by past simple. After that, we have past perfect. Okay. Now let's talk about the past perfect continuous. And again, it's the same idea as the present perfect continuous. And look at this, the form first. We have the subject plus had plus been and the verb plus ing. Look at this timeline to understand the usage of this tense. Okay, this is now, and we have two actions again in the past. We have action number 1 and action number 2. When I concentrate on the idea that action number 1 lasted for a while before action number 2, so I can use the past perfect continuous. Okay, so action number 1 was in progress, okay, before action number 2. This is the idea of this tense. So I can say I had been studying for 2 hours before my father came. I had been studying for 2 hours before my father came. Okay, so I concentrate on the idea that this action, which is action number 1, was in progress, or it lasted for a while before action number 2. Now let's move to the last two tenses, and we have future perfect simple and future perfect continuous. Okay, future, so we have will in this sentence, of course. The form is subject first. After that, we have will plus have and the past participle. Okay, and it's the same idea as the past perfect simple, but this is in the future. Look at this timeline. This is now, and we have two actions in the future, action number 1 and action number 2. Okay, action number 1 is in the future perfect simple. Action number 2 is in the present simple. Present simple. Okay, this tense is used to express the idea that something will happen before something else in the future. Okay, so action number 1 is in the future perfect simple, and action number 2 is in the present simple. Look at this sentence to understand the idea of this tense. I will have studied my lessons before I go out. Okay, so tomorrow I will have studied my lessons before I go out. Okay, in this sentence, we have two actions in the future, of course. The first one must be in the future perfect simple, and the second one, which is go, this is in the present simple. Okay, and it's used to express the idea that this action, which is in the future perfect simple, will happen before the second one, which is in the present simple. Now let's talk about the future perfect continuous, and it's the same idea as the past perfect continuous. Okay, look at the form first. We have the subject plus will plus have plus been and the verb plus ing. Okay, in this sentence, For example, when I say, I will have been studying for 2 hours before I go out. Okay, so in this tense, or in this sentence, I concentrate on the idea that something will take some time before something else in the future. And this is the idea of the future perfect continuous. Look at the timeline. Okay, this is now, and we have 2 actions in the future. This action will take some time before action number 2. This action will take some time before action number 2. Okay. And these are the verb tenses. Thank you very much for good listening. Goodbye for now. See ya.